Hey, it's me. I haven't seen you for a while. Didn't have anything to do tonight, so I thought, come talk to you. Well, I'm not your second choice. I don't mean that. I don't know about you, but June, July, and August were pretty rough months with all the retrogrades and all the horrible things that were going on. And it was an emotional time for a lot of people, me included. And so I want to talk about emotions. Most of our life as children, we were told that we had to control our emotions, that our emotions were bad, or a lot of them were bad, except loving people. You can always allowed to love people, and it feels good, but that's what you were supposed to do all the time. The other emotions that you had, which are considered, negative emotions, that you weren't supposed to feel those. Those were bad. Those were bad. We were judged. Judge them. You're just bad. You're not supposed to have them. And certainly, if you express some of them, you can have some bad consequences by them. But that's not how you solve them, and that's not how you get into unconditional love either. Is by ignoring who you are. We came into this dimension to experience things, to know things, and the emotions are really the communication. It's the language of the soul. So to ignore them, to judge them, is not serving the purpose that they're for. We have to experience, we have to feel them. And they're guides to tell us that we're off track, or something's wrong, that we need to change our behavior, that this isn't feeling good. If it doesn't feel good, then generally speaking, with the exception of using drugs, you might want to consider if you want to keep doing that or not. That works. So stuffing them and ignoring them is not going to help. It isn't. We have to deal and recognize the unpleasant feelings that we have, and things like fear and anger and judgment. We have to deal with those. And one of the ways we deal with them is we have to feel them to begin with. But we're told we're not supposed to feel them, because if we do, oh my God, if I have a negative emotion, some horrible thing's going to happen, and I'm going to act on it, and like we've got dragons inside of ourselves or something. And yes, there are some people that may do that, but it's probably not going to be you or me. Hopefully not. It's not going to be me. And if you feel like you are, then call me on the phone and I'll help you with that one. But most of us are rational people. So how do I deal with my emotions? I got to process them. Stuffing them is not going to help. You spent most of your life probably stuffing your emotions, and you don't probably even understand half the stuff that you feel. It took me years of doing it. So don't blame yourself if you haven't got this together. But we do have to process them. And in order to process them, we have to feel them. What you want to do is to find yourself some time, some space, where you're totally safe to express those feelings. And when I say express them, I mean verbalize them if you have to. If you're angry, you may not be able to do it at the moment. You got to put that off to the side and say, I can't do it now. The kids are here. I'm at home. I'm in the office. You have to find appropriate times to do this. But don't ignore them. You may put that off to deal with, later on when you can. The kids are in school. It's a weekend. Certainly don't want to do it. Do a lot of crying before date night. But if you need to cry, you need to cry. You need to cry. And people will say, oh, I don't want to start feeling this. I don't want to start crying because I can't stop. Well, eventually you will. Some people have done it for days. And if you're doing it for days, then call me on the phone and I'll help you with that. But you still have to feel it. And crying can get a lot of energy and sadness out. And the same thing with anger. Sometimes we have to express our anger. We have to drain that energy because it is energy in our body. But getting up on the elliptical trainer and just working that out and until you're exhausted, or going to a jiu-jitsu class is not going to solve the problem. You still have to process what's underneath all of that. And a hint is, most of the time with anger, there's fear under anger, okay? And then you have to you allow yourself to feel that fear, and then you have to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Yeah. There's some other feeling underneath there, humiliation, shame, tons of stuff. So you can initially discharge that with exercise or walking and running, but you still have to process it intellectually and through your feelings. Find yourself a place, a time, and then bring that situation up, that emotion up, and then process it. Allow yourself to feel the feeling. And a situation came up the other day, and I was in my car, and it was safe. I was, a lot of traffic, and so sadness came up from something else that I kind of had time to process, and so I allowed that sadness to come up, and it was really strong. It was really strong, and I followed it back. I thought, what is this? Where's the sadness coming from? What am I sad about? When was the first time I felt this? And when you ask yourself, when's the first time I felt this feeling, it will take you back to a place that may be a totally different situation. So don't judge the feeling, okay? Just feel it. It's not right, it's not wrong. Feel it. And let it take you back. Let your mind wander, whatever it's going to do, and you're going to go probably someplace back into a situation when you were younger. And then what was going on then? What was the situation? And it brought up a situation where the emotion that was involved at that point was shame. And I realized that this was some family shame that had gone down from generations. It wasn't even mine. It was, my mother's, my grandmother's, my great-grandmother's. And I saw what it was. I felt what it was. And I said, I'm not that person. This isn't mine. I'm not going to handle this. That was theirs. It's not mine. I'm not carrying this burden of shame for another generation. And wham, I downloaded, released a bunch of stuff. Driving my car. Kind of screwed my makeup a little bit up, but touched up before I got to my lunch engagement. But that's what you do. Then you see what it is, but you have to recognize what the real feeling is. It's like the iceberg. Most of the time we're dealing up here on the ice level. What is the stuff that's underneath the water is where we have to get to. That's the dangerous part. Ask the guys in the Titanic, they'll tell you that. And that's basically, a lot of what we do is try not to be the Titanic. Feel it. Express it. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to shout if you have to. You miserable SOB, you did this to me. You made me feel this way. You did this. And as you do that, you're physically discharging the energy, But if you let yourself say the words, they'll start to make a change, and the real deep stuff will start coming out. And that's what you have to deal with. Somewhere there's always a fear issue, and you have to figure out what you're afraid of. But don't judge it. And if you recognize that, if you don't judge them, then you're going to recognize often that part of the problem is you. Okay? And if you accept your part responsibility, then you can also do something about that. But if we're not dealing on a level of honesty and truth, and yes, I know truth is perception, but you can't change something, you can't make the situation better if you're not as honest as you possibly can at that given moment. And you say to yourself, okay, you know, this doesn't feel good, and I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be unhappy anymore. I don't want to feel this humiliation. If somebody humiliated you, how could, well, I went to a palace class the other day, and it was humiliating. Okay, that is a good example. I hadn't done my homework. I hadn't done my homework, and the guy, terrible. I should have known it. And he made me do it 3 times. He made me do it 3 times. And initially I felt humiliated. But you know what? Humiliation gets it into your long-term memory. I will remember that stuff. But that was my responsibility. I couldn't, no reason to get angry with him. I didn't do my homework. Okay? And he held my feet to the fire. But I'll remember. Okay? So sometimes this stuff, you feel it, and then you can make a change. Think about that. We do have to accept responsibility for our, some of the stuff is ours. Make changes. But you got to feel it and not judge it. Just say, how do I change it? And, it's great to love. And then that's the nice thing about love, about the good emotions, so love and joy, because they feel good. And then you start to say to yourself, okay, like with anger doesn't feel good. Does it? Does it really feel good? Makes you feel temporarily powerful. It's true. But then what does it get you? It doesn't feel good. And that's why you need to recognize it and deal with it. Because it doesn't make you feel good. Try it. Don't stuff those emotions. Don't judge them. Just feel them. Express them to yourself and be honest with you. Cry when you need to. Be sad when you need to. And you will find when you start allowing yourself to feel your feelings and you don't stuff them and you don't avoid them, then they process so much faster. You find the solutions and you don't have those big, horrible eruptions when things are totally out of context. You will stop fighting, being right fighting, and all the stuff that comes up when you don't deal with what's really happening. We do that a lot. We argue over things that really aren't the problem, because we're not willing to deal with the real problem, because we don't think we should feel that way. Okay, we build up resentment, and then eventually, because we haven't processed them, the whole damn atomic bomb goes off, and you ruin totally a relationship, because the other guy's going to say, what the hell going on here? I didn't do this, I didn't do that, because you're not dealing with the real situation, because you're covering up your own feelings. So it doesn't work. Find a safe place. Feel the emotions. Ask yourself what they are. Express them. find out what the fear is underneath. Find out what that fear is. Is it, like I said, often it's abandonment issues. It's betrayal. I don't feel good about myself. I don't think I'm good enough. Those are the kind of things that are going to come up. And then you can deal with those. Okay? And those are things most of the time we don't want to deal with. But you have to feel them to do this. Don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to feel your feelings. Just feel them. Don't judge it. Then when they come out and you know what they are, now you can do something that's appropriate because you know what you're dealing with. But when you try to ignore them or justify them, whatever, sometimes we try to do that, you are not going to find a solution to the problem. And you're just going to continue to feel bad. And I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of feeling bad. That was last year's New Year's resolution. It won't take long to process it. Once you get rid of the old stuff and you don't accumulate the new stuff, you can process your emotions, you can get through them, and you can find a solution so that you can feel good again, because you deserve to feel good. We don't have to be miserable all the time. Most of the time when we're miserable is because we're not being honest with ourselves. If you know what's going on, if you deal with reality, then you can find a way to solve the problem. But you gotta feel it. You gotta feel it. Like, try it. Might work. Call me. I'll help you.